Hey guys, it's Spacer Sims, and we are back with more Mistonia's Hope, continuing Lucas's route. Well, just at the beginning of it. So, anyway, hopefully everything's okay. I noticed after recording our other game, and I started to record this, I'm like, why does it look like my voice isn't like I would talk, and then it would like pick up, like record me a second later? So, yeah. I don't know if the last hour or two I record, I don't know how long it's been off. Not for this part, not this, like, I think the last part of this game is perfectly fine, but the other stuff, I'm like, great. So, like, I'll be reading and then it clicks to the next thing, and then, like, my voice and the clicking and everything is not in sync. And I record them together. I don't edit them in separate, so it's not like I edited it weird. It's just my recording software is a goddamn piece of garbage. Once again, swear to fucking God. Oh, I need to get. Oh, there's so much fucking shit that's just falling apart in my fucking life that I really need to fucking. Need new recording software. I need a new fucking phone. I need a new fucking chair. I need like so much fucking shit. And it's like, I just. I don't want to now. It's overwhelming. Like, for fuck's sake. But. So anyway, if as I'm reading thing and it's not lined up and it's off by like a second or two, but it's still annoying as fuck. So hopefully it's fine, because I've been sitting here doing tests going like B, 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 clicking and toggling this, and like, I've done like 30 tests. I think it's fine now, but like, what the actual fuck? So, anyway, after we left, John and I avoided attention as we walked, resuming our discussion, right? Because we just had the discussion with Goneril about Lucas being a bastard kid and all of his brothers beating him up and shit. What do you think about Lucas, John?
Well, what Goneril said bothers me. I don't have a clue about the powers of House Sullivan, so I can't make any conclusions.
Hey, how about we ask Oberon? He might know a thing or two about House Sullivan. Since Oberon was the Fae King, he must naturally be aware of the powers of all Fae. We turned. I was like, okay, I was looking at my computer as I said that. We turned down a deserted alley, and I promptly took out my pocket watch to try summoning the Pure Fae. However, he's not coming out. Well, I can't say I expected much to begin with. When I didn't need him, he'd pop out as he pleased, but he rarely ever responded to my calls. That was the kind of Fae Oberon was.
Well, there's not much we can do if he won't come. I'll go meet him in person and ask him about Will-O-Wisp.
John was going to visit the forest of bluebells where I formed my contract with Oberon. It was still a gamble whether Oberon would show in his true form. Thanks. I wish I could go with you, but asking for a longer holiday would be challenging. Recently, many of the Bernstein servants were sent on outside errands, and we were short on hands. If I didn't return soon, it would impact the whole household.
Lady, you focus on doing what only you can. I'll also do what I can, so don't worry. I don't do anything reckless while I'm gone.
Oops, sorry. I know, I won't. We concluded our conversation by deciding that we would both investigate Lucas and House Sullivan. Then the rest of my day flew by. After the conference the next day, I prepared more tea to deliver to the Great Hall together with Evelyn and Charlotte. As we did our preparations like usual, my coworkers chatted anxiously. Did you hear about Lord Lucas's servant? Yeah, I'm a bit worried. What if I get asked to do it? My ears perked up at the topic of Lucas. Surreptitiously, it's surreptitiously. I cannot read today. I'm just saying. Wait. No, the music's fine. I mean, music was doing perfectly fine, but when I had to like close my software and start it because it was like recording my voice janky, then the sound thing that I had on and everything was wasn't working, and then I had to switch the soundtrack, the track that the sound comes in on, like where the audio is being recorded from, and then that wasn't working, the one that doesn't get janky. So now it's on the one that does get one of the ones that jits, and it's like, what the fuck? I can't win with this shit. Swear to God, I know, I keep bitching about it. I really need new stuff, you know? I mean, I've been using the software for years. I'm pretty sure I paid like $15 for it. So like, I've gotten my use out of it where it was okay, and now it's just garbage, kind of, with my capture card. So works fine for everything else. Does not work with my capture card. I don't know. No, that sounds fine. But anyway, I nudged my way into the conversation. May I ask what happened? Oh, right, you haven't heard. The thing is, for the past few days, we and Philip have been helping out at Lord Lucas's townhouse. Oh, right. There were many days where either Evelyn or Charlotte were absent. This explains Philip's disappearances, too. I then recalled all their thoroughly exhausted faces on those days. I do remember days I couldn't find you. So you went to help out at another house, I see. Are they short on staff there? Calling it short staff doesn't cut it. Lord Lucas brought only a single servant to Rowan. Just one! That's extreme. Normally nobles brought quite a number of servants when they came all the way to Rowan, almost like a show of their prestige. But Lucas had apparently only brought a single veteran butler along with him. Lucas is thoroughly dedicated to avoiding people, even if it's to his detriment. What happened was the butler threw his back out, so we went over to help out in turns, but now I hear the butler's condition has only gotten worse. And, well, Mr. Nicholas said that he may dispatch one of the servants working here to care for Lord Lucas until the exhibition. Evelyn, what do we do if he chooses me? Hey, I don't want to be if it happens, you can only lament your luck. Clearly neither of them were enthused about the job. Meanwhile, my mind went back to when Lucas was willing to dance with me at the ball. I was aware that he was an eccentric character, but was he someone to be feared to this extent? He's a little standoffish and kind of like cold, so everyone's probably a little afraid of him and intimidated. He's curt, yes, but we're always able to have normal conversations, and I don't see him as the type to yell or threaten people indiscriminately. The affairs of House Sullivan that I learned yesterday were indeed dreadful enough to send chills down my spine, and I was apprehensive about his unknown, uncanny powers. But if I only considered Lucas's temperament that I'd seen with my own eyes, I felt that these two's trepidation was a bit exaggerated. Is it really that awful? Yes, it is! The women dropped their work and closed in on me in unison to respond. Overwhelmed by their vigor, I leaned back. The Lord said himself he's a misanthrope, and he's seriously fussy. He doesn't talk much, so it's hard to tell what's on his mind. Like Lucas said that about himself. It may sound nice to think of him as someone who doesn't need much effort, but he barely leaves his room. It's hard to figure out when and how to talk to him. Right, he's an extreme a man who values solitude. You could call him a hermit. He's a hermit. She was about to say hermit, wasn't she? He gets in a sour mood so readily, it's hard to judge what you should be careful of. I only helped for a few hours, but I was twice as tired as working here. Me too. I don't want to go there again if I can help it. It's to that extent? After I asked more thoroughly, they explained the fact that Lucas had attended these conferences was shocking those who knew him. The fact that Lucas had attended these conferences was shocking those who knew. I mean, I get what they're saying, but it just didn't flow in my brain right. I was convinced that, like all the other times before, he dropped by just to show his face before scampering back to his domain. I heard that Lord Alfred and the others are detaining him and making him stay until the exhibition's finished. That sounds like something Alfred would do. Am I going to be chosen to help again? When Charlotte's eyes met with mine, she gasped and waved her hands out in front of her. It's not that I dislike the Lord, I'm just scared. We aren't kindred spirits. I'm aware that he's a difficult man. I've no intention of disclosing the details of our private chat to others, so rest assured, we gonna volunteer for the job, absolutely. The tension dropped from Charlotte's shoulders, and then Evelyn's like dominoes falling. It's a relief to hear you say that. Well, you aren't the type to tattle, so I trust you. The faith they had in me had become more tangible than ever before. This was convenient. Can I sound out some information about House Sullivan with how this conversation is going? The thought crossed my mind, but I quickly reconsidered. These two likely didn't know any more than I did. Whispers about other households were usually passed on between servants, and a lone elderly butler probably wasn't the rumor-mongering kind. I wonder what'll happen. It's looking pretty glum. Yeah. Since my co-workers were shrouded in gloom, I carried the tea to the parlor myself. On the topic of security measures, I believe that reinforcing our coordination with the yard more would be beneficial. Yeah, I agree. Anti-royalists have grown active all over the city after all. Alfred's over there like, yeah. I mean, yes, absolutely. I have no objections. And that said, won't rashly intensifying our monitoring measures risk antagonizing the masses? About that. They had remained in the room after the conference to discuss exhibition security. I served them, furtively listening in. These three are certainly the most zealous about the preparations. But they weren't the only ones in the room. Perhaps it was inevitable that Alfred chose this moment to address the other man present. Lucas, do you have any suggestions to offer? Dragged into the conversation, Lucas, who'd been silent while propping up his chin with his hand, lifted his face, annoyed. No. Besides, didn't we end the conference? How much longer are you going to keep prattling on for? My apologies for prolonging the discussion, Lucas. This matter concerns the Queen's safety, so I can't help but be fastidious. You have no spirit of cooperation at all. You think too little of major meetings. The same goes for Lord Ascot, who is conveniently just gone. As for Ascot, he was nowhere to be seen. Judging by how there were only 4 teacups out for the previous maids who served them, Ascot hadn't come at all. At least in Ascot's case, he said that the Queen summoned him today. Or so he says. Who could prove his words? You know, I feel like Alfred has the right to be sus and be like, yeah, I don't trust that shit. Because, like, who would know Two-Face better than Two-Face? Just saying. Listen, I'm here for Alfred 100%. Like, man, I love his giant fucking neon lemon coat, okay? Everybody can make fun of my best in show pony over here, all right? And his outfit and his ribbons and shit. I'm here for all of it. They're ridiculous in the best way possible. But also, again, the man wears top hats. And I'm a top hat bitch. So, like, our top hat powers combined with, like, I don't even words, okay? I didn't have a smart aleck response for that. I was just like, it could topple kingdoms, okay? Like, I don't know. I seriously. But, seriously. The man's leading an anti-royalist faction, so, like, he knows about being shady and two-faced. So if he's like, I don't know, Ascot seems two-faced, I believe him. I believe Alfred takes one to know one, you know what I'm saying? I'd like to believe that he wouldn't do such a thing. I don't know, he's later in the route, so something's sus about him. As much as we adore him. Listen, again, he could be the worst. The biggest dumpster fire to ever dumpster fire. But when you are a character voiced by Jun Fukuyama, I will give you every fucking leeway possible. I don't care. Burn, baby, burn. I will help you light all the fucking dumpsters on fire, okay? And I will enjoy it. So, I mean, I'm a simple woman. Glasses, flair, voiced by Jun Fukuyama. There's just a few things that make me happy, and if all those things are combined, I would die, but... Looks like Alfred suspects that Ascot's slacking off. Even Edward's reply was non-committal. Regardless of his attitude, Ascot was still basically the Queen's chamberlain. The summons could be true. Maybe. Either way, his absence from the conference still causes a headache for Alfred, so the real reason doesn't change much. Seriously? Letting out a sigh, Alfred put down his cup. Oh, his cup is empty. I should go serve him. Just as I was about to move over to Alfred, I heard a chair scraping the floor behind me. You're talking in circles, so I think I've been here long enough. I'll take my leave. Carrying an enormous bundle of documents in his arms, Lucas stood. Alfred called to him. Leave as you wish, but review those documents within the week. Don't forget to sign them. Fine. Lucas started to retort, but stopped and gave a brief, resigned reply. Then he made straight for the door. He wanted to return as soon as possible rather than argue back and forth here. Lucas is leaving. I need an opportunity to interact with him. Should I try approaching him now by offering to hold his papers? Pour tea for Alfred. Help. I'm assuming we're going to help Lucas because pouring tea for Alfred is like nice and all, but we want to help Lucas. Lucas is our boyfriend. Yeah. I needed to get close to Lucas soon, and now is as good as an opening as I might get. And so I set the tea aside and walked up to the man. I shall accompany you to the entrance. If it pleases you, I shall carry your documents. No, I don't need any help. But, my lord, won't it be a struggle to open the door with both hands occupied? Hearing that, Lucas grimaced. He glanced at the door, then at me, before muttering awkwardly. You're a seriously considerate maid to the point of being irksome. Though he made a scathing remark, it didn't sound like he was offended. I considered it his form of banter. I could tell from the peace in Lucas's eyes as he looked at me. Then I shall carry your documents. May I? No, don't bother with these. There seems to be quite a lot of papers, so please at least give me half. I said I'm fine. Or do you want to turn me into a shameless man who'd force my baggage onto a lady? Pardon me. In times like this, Lucas is a gentleman. When he treated me as a lady, I felt just a little flustered, though I didn't know why. Suddenly, the warm sensation of his hand in mine as we danced resurfaced in my mind. An unnecessary sentiment I pushed down. Lucas reached the door. The next moment... Oops! Sorry, Lulu. Ascot opened the door without warning, and Lucas came this close to slamming into it. Crumpling the papers to his chest before they all fell, Lucas regained his footing. Ascot scanned the parlor from the doorway before returning his gaze to Lucas before him. Are you already going home? Is the conference today already over? Isn't that obvious? Yes, the meeting's finished. Oh, but it looks like the others are still going. Ascot's words soured Lucas's mood further. Even I could tell. What unfortunate timing. He was this close to escaping. That aside, why is Ascot here? You've arrived remarkably late, Lord Ascot. Didn't you say that the Queen called for you? Alfred snarked, venting his earlier frustration. Ascot, however, wasn't affected in the least. That's right. I went to visit Her Majesty. She asked me about our progress for the upcoming exhibition in those 4 cases. Oh, I see the Queen is concerned after all. The 3 sitting down schooled their expressions. It appeared that Ascot truly had visited the Queen. 4 cases, he said. It's natural that the Queen cares about the Twilight Ravens, since they might affect the exhibition. But the other 3? It was a little surprising. I'd assumed that the Queen paid no heed to her subjects' lives, especially the lower classes and mingles. Kindly take a seat, Ascot. I actually wish to discuss this matter as well. See, that sounds bullshit. Like, Ascot's, oh, she wants to know what's going on with those 4 cases. And you're like, Queen doesn't give a fuck about anybody but herself, really. You know what I mean? He's making shit up. They're not going to question that, though, you know? Really? What luck. Well then, Lulu, do you want to sit down? It's annoying to repeat the Queen's regal words, so I hope you'll stay. Ugh. Ascot lightly tapped Lucas on the shoulder. Having lost his chance to leave, Lucas slumped back down in his seat with a sullen face. He dropped his documents back onto the table with a heavy thud, and as if that were the gravels knocking, the conference restarted. All right, I believe we should go over the information we have about each case. Edward, hold a moment. Raising a hand to interrupt Edward, Alfred turned to me with a sharp squint. Our discussions beyond this point isn't meant for outsiders. Our discussion beyond this point. Well, my apologies, Space, but please give us privacy. Yes, my lords. I tried to become a wallflower, but it didn't work out. Though disappointed, I masked it as I headed toward the door. Then... Wait, Space. I'd like to ask you something. Lord Edward, we have a message from Her Majesty. It's inappropriate for outsiders... I understand your position, Lord Alfred, but if we want to gather as much information as possible, we must consider all sources, as she may have heard news in the streets. After saying that, Edward turned to me and switched into a gentler voice. May I ask you a few questions? Yes, I'll answer anything to the best of my ability. I hadn't expected that a Five Houses noble himself would give me an excuse to stay behind. I bowed to Edward formally. Don't worry, you can just answer me casually. Have you heard the term Twilight Ravens before? I've heard rumors about them, yes, but I'm not privy to any details. Well, they scattered calling cards throughout the entire city, so it makes sense you know that much. Okay, what about changelings and the wing hunter? I'm not sure about changelings, but I've heard about the wing hunter. Alfred's shoulders jolted. What kind of rumors? What I've heard is Mangle's wings are being taken terribly frequently, so it's dangerous in Rowan at night and we need to be careful. That's about all I know, I'm afraid. Now that I thought about it, early into my employment here, Philip had brought up that wing hunts had only targeted Mingles. I see. Sounds like there's no novel news circulating in the streets. Alfred nodded, and the men looked away from me. Seeing my questioning was concluded. They're not going to ask about the blue robin? But just as I thought it, Edward spoke up. And then, what about the blue robin? Robins are pretty. There's a blue one? No, I haven't heard about a robin. Is it associated with another unsettling case? I dug for inside information by feigning ignorance. Edward smiled wryly, troubled. No, this isn't quite an incident. It's just that retirement homes and almshouses have been receiving gifts from an unknown sender. By all rights, it's an activity that we nobles ought to be doing. Edward looked to have conflicting feelings on the matter. In contrast, Alfred was frosty. Alfred's always frosty. What big news is that? It's funny because you'd think the blue robin who's sending gifts, it's probably Lucas, again, because that seems to be the big thing. But you think it'd be Edward because, like, his color is blue. But you could say they perform acts of charity, but I doubt biannual gifts make a difference. Yeah, it's rather harsh, Lord Alfred. Still, makes me curious where they procure their funds. Right. Even if it's only twice a year, they'd need significant funds to prepare gifts for people all over the country. Perhaps it isn't a lone person. Their reactions are pretty telling. Edward, a man without social class biases, empathized with the Blue Robin's work. Meanwhile, Alfred perceived the situation through an objective lens, and Linus focused on the Blue Robin's movements and motives. I wouldn't be so sure. I don't think there are that many people with such peculiar hobbies. What do you think, Lulu? Who knows? The only certain information I've got are reports that all the presents seem to be from the Blue Robin after all. With a disinterested, stiff expression, Lucas gave a short answer. Did he have a negative view of the Blue Robin? No, he doesn't want to bring it up and doesn't want to talk about it because it's him. From a single mysterious sender, anyhow. Huh. Like Lord Alfred said, mere presents won't change the ways of this world. Donations are meaningless. It's the frivolous pastime of a hypocrite. He spat out his words, loathing in his tone. I had to admit it intrigued me. See, that's something that you would say if that was you. You're like, yeah, whatever, he's just a hypocrite. Which, you know, like, do you think that you're a hypocrite? Like, I could see him thinking of himself that way. Like, or like, he's a fraud. You know what I mean? Because he's now going to be the head of a house, but he doesn't feel like he belongs in this world. Power or not. He's just a bastard kid. You know what I mean? Like, what is it, though? When he said hypocrite, he sounded oddly invested. Lucas clearly feels strongly about the Blue Robin, but what exactly is his opinion? He must have perceived that he wasn't going to gain any new information, because Edward looked to me and tied up the topic. My apologies for detaining you. Thanks. You can return to your work now. Yes. Though I rued that I'd be unable to listen in any longer, I headed to the door. As I walked out, I still felt that something was off about Lucas's attitude. Then, because she'd been waiting for me in the corridor, I nearly bumped into Charlotte, standing right outside the door. Thank you for all your hard work. Mr. Nicholas said that he has an announcement, so all the servants must assemble at once. Understood. Thank you for fetching me. With that, I headed to the servant's office. We're going to help Lucas. Or he's going to be like, someone needs to, and be like, I'll volunteer. When I arrived, I saw all the estate's servants lined up in single file. He's assembling us at a time like this. What's he going to say? An especially important announcement? As I looked over the servants, everyone had varying degrees of distress on their faces.
All right. Thank you, Charlotte. I believe everyone is present now.
After checking that Charlotte and I had joined the assembly, Nicholas projected his voice.
I shall start from the reason I have gathered you here today. It's about the matter of Lord Lucas Sullivan's servant.
Charlotte sucked in a sharp breath next to me. The other servants appeared to be reacting in a similar manner.
Those of you who have gone to his estate as assistants are already aware, but there is only one butler serving House Sullivan's townhouse. The butler is unwell, and it's difficult for him to continue his duties. However, Lord Lucas has refused to summon more staff from House Sullivan's country house. Therefore, after some discussion, we have decided that until his butler has recovered, we will dispatch our own to his townhouse.
Nicholas added that it was Edward's decision out of concern for Lucas's quality of life. So basically, Edward's worried and interfered like a mother hen. Sounds like something Edward would do. It did sound like something Edward would do. I did not know that was literally going to be the next line. He believed that Lucas was a virtuous man, so he likely wasn't aware the servants were terrified of him. Sounds like things have turned out exactly as Evelyn and Charlotte feared.
Now, as for who we shall send...
Tension rose in the air. I could tell from everyone biting their lips and wringing their hands that they all prayed they wouldn't be chosen. Are we going to get a choice to volunteer, or are we just going to do it? Oh, he's looking at me? My eyes met with Nicholas. For a moment I thought he might call my name, but then...
Philip, are you up to the task?
No, I mean, yes? Nicholas suddenly moved on and called Philip. I exhaled slowly. Oh, I was really thinking we were going to go. You know what I mean? I was convinced he'd chosen me. What a shame. It might have been a good opportunity. We could volunteer and be like, you know what? I'll do it.
As for Philip's workload during his absence, I'll notify you how it would be distributed later. That's all. Everyone return to your stations.
Philip walked up and began talking with Nicholas about the task ahead of him. He was only going to ask Philip, though. I don't think he needed to go out of his way to gather all the servants. Nicholas was pure efficiency. It was odd that he'd handled the situation this way, but perhaps he felt the explanation necessary. Beneath the murmuring of servants, unanimously relieved that they hadn't been chosen.
I'm pretty sure I'll end up coming back right away, though.
Philip's low whisper reached my ears. As it turned out, I learned why Nicholas had gathered us all and what Philip was afraid of very soon. Because on the very next day after Philip was dispatched to the Sullivan residence...
Sorry, Lord Luke fired me and said to never come back.
Huh? It's only been 2 days! Isn't that way too fast? Why does no one look surprised?
I see. If that's what Lord Lucas said, we have no choice.
Nicholas accepted Philip's report matter-of-factly. And then he called out to a certain girl that was trying to slip away from the room.
In that case, I shall dispatch someone else in your stead. Evelyn?
Ah! Understood, sir. I shall take on this duty. It's going to be every few days they come back. Unfortunately, it was no different for Evelyn. That guy's ridiculous! What's with him? I had to say to his face that I'd never come again and walk right out the door!
Evelyn, I understand there are only servants present, but watch your speech.
My deepest apologies.
Glad you made it out. I totally get it.
You've got to be kidding me, right? A capable person like Evelyn returned in a single day? None of the servants were surprised. They all told Evelyn she worked hard and did great. After skimming the room, Nicholas settled his gaze on the girl who refused to meet his eyes and looked on the verge of tears already.
Well then, next, head over in Evelyn's stead, Charlotte.
Yes, sir. My condolences. As for Charlotte, who was dispatched in Evelyn's place, this is actually kind of fucking funny. I thought we were going to go, and I was like, oh, Philip's go. This is funnier. This is fucking funnier. I'm so sorry. Someone like me isn't fit to take care of Lord Lucas at all. It's utterly impossible to communicate with him.
You did great. 3 days is a long time.
Exactly. I only held out for 1 day. In the end, Charlotte ended up returning too. Though Nicholas seemed to have expected this to a certain extent, his shoulders slumped at how quickly the servants dropped out.
What to do, what to do?
House Sullivan commotion seemed to avoid me completely as it progressed. But then, the very next day... Now help yourself. The bakery that made this carrot cake is a royal court favorite. It's heavenly. No, I am a servant, my lady. As your attendant, it would be too indulgent of me. Oh, my, please don't say such cold things. I wholeheartedly look forward to every tea session with you. I don't remember Lily's voice, but whatever. Today, Lily had summoned me to her tea party in the garden. I came during a work break. Perhaps she'd taken a liking to me at the debutante ball, because she had been inviting me to tea at every opportunity ever since. This could be why we're also not getting chosen, because, Lily won't let us go. There's no demerit in being on good terms with her, though. I might be able to get my hands on information about the Queen. The Queen was fond of Lily, so through her I could sound out the Queen's situation in the royal palace. Thus I humored Lily whenever I could. You're truly adorable. The noblemen at the ball couldn't take their eyes off you. Say, are you in a relationship with someone? No, my lady. I have my hands full with simply getting used to my job here. Her distance, or lack thereof, stumps me about how to respond. At the same time, she was friendly with me, yes, but behind every gesture were hints that she did it to amuse herself, still clearly recognizing the distinction between her statuses. See, it's that. She's not just like, oh, I'm amused getting to know people. It's she's playing with me. You know what I mean? To her, being familiar with a maid was similar to doting on a pet. My, but you have a reputation for being a capable worker. Even Nick praises you. Oh, I'm very honored. I'm glad you came to our place. If you hadn't, I'd still be lonely because the only person I could enjoy tea with would be Ed. The Queen has been under the weather, so she hasn't been hosting any tea parties. It's been so dreary. Her Majesty isn't feeling well? Lily granted me a piece of intel. The Queen was still deteriorating. Yes, there's nothing more important than her health. The decision is understandable, though regrettable. Sipping her tea, as refined as any etiquette teacher could hope, Lily innocently looked up. Say, if something precious to you broke one day, what would you do? See, this is a really weird fucking question. Huh? The topic changed out of nowhere. I was slow to respond. Lily's eyes softened with a smile as she waited for my response. That's a very weird question. Good question. If it's something that can be fixed, I believe I'd either repair it myself or ask a professional. Was the something referring to an object or something immaterial? I didn't know, so I cautiously replied to analyze her reaction. That makes sense, but I think there's a more effortless, easier method. What might it be? Pulling her lips into a thin smile, Lily traced the rim of her cup with her fingertip. Tea would spill from even the slightest chip, yes. So, you may as well go all the way. Sister, I need a quick word. See, this is where she was getting into serial killer territory, it sounded like. Like, what the fuck? Edward's voice cascaded over us from above. I hadn't noticed him come outside. When I raised my head, he was looking right at me. Then I shall... No, I'd like you to listen as well, Space. Sorry to disturb you while you're enjoying yourselves. Nicholas was standing by at Edward's side, a hint of weariness on his face. This is where they're sending me? Oh my, did something happen? Bird, don't bite me. Well, it's about our sending servants to the Sullivan estate. Like I feared, none of the others could handle the task. As I suggested to you from the beginning, personally, I would like to send Space. What? Edward planned to send me from the start? Did Nicholas want the same? So it wasn't a coincidence that Nicholas had locked eyes with me during the first meeting. But if Edward himself wanted that, why wasn't I sent? I didn't have to wonder long. No can do. Haven't I already stated my thoughts on the matter? She stays here. Hey, wouldn't you be upset too? We wouldn't be able to have our tea parties anymore. She sought my support, but unprepared for such a topic, I could only look back, bewildered. So Lily was against it? Space has been here a short time, yet Nick already recognizes her competence. She is the most qualified. But you said that you wouldn't commute there, but be a live-in maid. I can't let that happen. We finally become friendly with each other. This is a little weird. Turning away, Lily sulked like a young girl. I watched her, slowly piecing together the mystery from their exchange. Hey, Nick, there are other servants too, yes? It doesn't have to be her, right? Lily judged that reasoning with Edward was getting her nowhere and shifted her target. Standing behind Edward, Nicholas almost looked like he was cowering from the lady.
I am ashamed to say this, but each servant I dispatched has trouble communicating with Lord Lucas. They've all been sent back.
She's our only hope. And don't worry, her employment there is temporary. It's only until the Sullivan estate sends its own staff. Sending servants to the Sullivan estate is something you volunteered to do. Are you certain that Lord Lucas wishes for it? I thought the exact same thing as Lily when I first heard of all this. She must have hit the mark as Edward furrowed his brows. Still, it's undeniable that his life in the townhouse would be filled with hardship without even a single servant. He was willing to come to the conference. I'd like him to reside here with minimal inconveniences, even if it doesn't qualify as comfortable. If Lucas heard this, I have the feeling that he'd call Edward a busybody, but I understood Edward's perspective as well. Hold on. Gotta give the bird a break, because he's being a bastard. I was going to say brat, and then bastard, and then it came out brastard. And my pillow just fell on my computer, so hopefully it didn't click on anything weird. All right, let's go, booger face. Let's also turn the light on in here because it's getting dark. Come on, get over here, you being a little punk. You still didn't clean yourself too well when you took a tubbies. You still need to clean yourself better because you still got crusties on your head. Your head is still crusties from when you parfed on yourself. I'm gonna have to take you and shove your head under the water myself. That sounds like I'm gonna shove head under. No, but you know what I mean, You turn on the sink a little bit. Gonna have to do those squish squish on your heads. You need to wash your head better. Ow. Oh, okay. No, our headset didn't unplug. I got tangled up on my footstool. Anyway. Having received pleas from both of them, Lily pursed her lips and shrugged. There's no way around it. This girl is my favorite, so arrange for her to come back as soon as possible, all right? Lily begrudgingly gave her approval like a child whose toy had been confiscated. Edward faced me again. Space, I think you've gotten the gist of it from our conversation just now, but I'd like to dispatch you to Lucas's place. It's true that Lucas can be fussy, but you've talked to him before, like at the ball. What do you think? Are you willing to do this? I'd been looking for a chance to approach Lucas. This was a golden opportunity. Looking into Edward's eyes, I nodded firmly. Of course, if I can be of help in any way, I shall do everything within my power. Thank you. I'm sure you'll handle the job perfectly. But if you ever think it's too much, come back whenever you wish, okay? Exactly! Come back soon, please! I didn't plan for it, but a chance to get close to Lucas fell into my lap.
He's gonna fall into my lap too. Hey!
What? I'm just... Or we're gonna fall into his. Whichever. I wasn't gonna let it slip by. I swore to myself that I would sneak into the heart of enemy territory and gain Lucas's trust.
We're gonna sneak into his heart. It's not just the heart of enemy territory.
That night, I was busy packing in my room. I was going to the Sullivan estate tomorrow. It is kind of interesting, though, because now we don't get any of our, girls' nights anymore now, but since there aren't any other servants, my workload will be sizable. That said, the lack of other people just meant it was an even better chance to get close with Lucas. As I thought on my good luck, there was a knock on my door. You still awake? Evelyn? Did something happen? I scanned my room, checking that I hadn't left any incriminating items out in the open, and only had to put away my letter-writing set. When I quietly opened the door, Evelyn and Charlotte were waiting with worried faces. I heard the news. You're the next victim. Victim? Her time there must have affected her deeply. We got worried about you, and we were wondering if we could help, if only a little. I'm grateful, but how do you mean? Charlotte and I will tell you all about what we experienced on the other side. Knowing a thing or two means you can at least go in mentally prepared, right? Oh, yes, thank you. Before anything else, please come in. Happiness sparked in my heart. These two were worried about me and were willing to go so far to help me. I beckoned them inside. Is this what it's like to have friends? Aw. Is this friend? Asking them to wait a while, I prepared some tea and made sure they were comfortable. Once we each had a drink, Evelyn and Charlotte shared their accounts of their time at the Sullivan estate. I can read. In any case, I suggest you brace yourself for the worst. Unlike Lord Edward, Lord Lucas is seriously eccentric. Could you give me some specific examples? One time I overheard someone shouting, so I rushed over to that room. But when I arrived, the only person I could see was Lord Lucas. Well, perhaps he was talking to himself. Nope, it was way beyond muttering to oneself. He was definitely quarreling with someone. Well, he does have the powers of the dead, so was he quarreling with the dead person? We don't know. He might be able to see ghosts. I was scared, so I entered to check on him, but he yelled not to barge in uninvited. I mean, yeah, it was my blunder to go in without asking, but anyone would be worried after hearing angry shouts like that. Puzzling shouts of anger. Lucas and Evelyn would have been the only ones in the estate, so who had he been arguing with? Me too. I heard him throwing things at the wall and yelling angrily all alone. Right? I don't know what he's so worked up about, but he takes it out on us servants. Now that's news to me. He didn't seem like the kind to throw temper tantrums. As I thought back on how Lucas had acted the few times we'd conversed, Charlotte, fiddling with the hem of her clothes, spoke meekly. And I heard some noises in the middle of the night, so I went to check on what happened, and I saw Lord Lucas going outside. When I tried to talk to him, he glared at me as if to say I should stay out of his business. He was terrifying there. Sounds like you had it rough. And where was Lord Lucas headed to at such a late hour? Well, we already know he goes out because we saw, didn't Edward talk to him, or was it Alfred? Somebody did in the comment route, I think. I'm not sure. That reminds me, there are lots of rumors about will-o-wisps, aren't there? Stuff like they can manipulate the dead. Maybe those words evoked a bad memory, or maybe it was just the night's energy, but Charlotte yelped and hugged herself to calm down. I don't know why he flies into a rage. It's creepy. The estate's got no servants, so it's way too quiet and creepy. There are even rooms that are off limits, which is absurdly creepy. Well, if nothing else, at least I know that the Sullivan's estate is creepy. Thank you for your concern, both of you. I'll be only doing my job, so please be at ease. But still, thank you very much. Loosening what they called my iron mask, I gave the two girls a smile. They relaxed. It's true. Lord Lucas isn't the only peculiar guy we've got around. Knowing you'll be okay, but... Hey, you're going to come back during the weekends, right? Yeah, that's my plan. I've received permission from both Lord Edward and Mr. Nicholas. And how about we have some tea together when you're back? If anything happens, you come to us about it. Charlotte's proposal warmed my heart. These two are truly good people. I know, they're the greatest. I mean, I like it when we have, gal pals in games, you know what I mean? Remorse sprouted within me for deceiving them, even though I knew the sentiment was foolish. Thanks. I'll prepare some snacks to go with our tea. If I could live like a normal girl like them, could we have become good friends? I offered, hoping to match their warmth, but... You really don't have to. We'll take care of that. Right, Charlotte? Yeah, your seasoning is, it's better suited to her particular palate, so... I forgot that she is like a deadly cook. I'll prepare snacks. No, please don't worry about it. For a hot second, I forgot about that, and I was like, oh, Evelyn's being nice, because she's worried about us having to be with Lucas. And she's like, no, don't. No, you'll kill us. Oh. Is it? Strange. I feel even more energy from them now than when they talked about Lucas. But I'm the one who ought to show my gratitude. As thanks, I will prepare... As if she was determined to stop me, Evelyn interrupted me. Oh, speaking of which, how are the cooking arrangements going to be on the other side? That. I can hear that Lord Edward worked with the Sullivan butler to hurriedly employ a chef from an acquaintance. I've reported that I'm capable of cooking, but oddly enough, even Mr. Nicholas said that the one thing I mustn't do is cook. Phew! I see, that's good. Philip must have told Lord Edward about your skills in cooking. A wise decision. A wise decision? May I ask what you... But it actually works out in your favor, don't you think? Since the chef is going too, your workload will be that much lighter. Yes, that's true. I can't deny that. I'm going to throw you downstairs if you don't stop. You keep biting my face, and I don't like it. It's not nice. Stop it. It sounded like Charlotte was trying to mediate. It only baffled me more. Is there some kind of problem with my cooking? Maybe they think I'm not skilled because I don't cook often. Their relief was evident after hearing there'd be a chef. Staring at their expressions, I alone felt conflicted. She's so clueless. The next morning, Evelyn and Charlotte saw me off as I departed for the Sullivan estate. Though I arrived with no issue, I am Space Cottingley, and I've come from House Bernstein as an assistant. I look forward to working here. My voice echoed in the deathly silent entryway. He's just got boxes and shit outside. They weren't kidding when they said this place was empty. I was told that the back-aching butler had returned to the country house. In other words, there were only two people here, Lucas and me. Now, that is the start of a really fun bodice ripper novel. Except for the chef that'll come every morning and evening. I opened the note that Nicholas had handed me before my departure and skimmed it. The note, a compilation of the reports from the servants dispatched before me, detailed the location of Lucas's private quarters. Honestly, this saves me a lot of trouble. Without it, I would have needed to go around knocking on every single door in this estate. Before anything, I needed to greet the lord of the house. Using my map, I went to his room. Because he can't answer the door. Look, and then all of his, look at all the beautiful designs on the floor. Obviously, those are probably not really there. Lord Lucas, are you there? It's Space Cottingley, a maid from House Bernstein. I've come to assist you. There was no response, not even breathing I could discern. Yet I knew that he was inside. That reminds me, I think something similar happened before. There was a time when I'd walked into what I thought was an empty room, only to find Lucas sleeping there. Is he sleeping now too? I'm sure he'll get mad if I enter unwelcomed, but wandering the estate without greeting him first is also inappropriate. I froze with indecision, then... What are you doing? No. The door swung open, and Lucas stood just inches away from me. I slicked in a breath. Why are you here? I've come to greet you. When he muttered his question, there was a pleading, pained look in Lucas's eyes, but I couldn't understand why. It lasted only a split second. I can't focus with you loitering about. If you're going to come in, get on with it. Please excuse me. Scarcely meeting my eyes, he turned on his heel. That attitude was probably the reason he was so distant with the other servants. So his drawing room is basic. Again, he's got paintings and things of covered in fabric sitting over there in their desk cloths. The moment I entered the room, a distinct, unfamiliar scent tickled my nose. Is it perfume? But it's not exactly pleasant. What is it? Settling on a chair, Lucas crossed his legs and kept silent. He stared unblinkingly at me as I remained rooted near the door. Is it just me, or does he want to say something? Just as I wondered whether I should speak first, Lucas lowered his eyes. When he lifted his gaze again, he'd regained his usual aura. Oh, what a bother. I said I don't need servants. Edward's too meddlesome. You're the fourth. You've heard rumors from other servants, haven't you? You'll be no different. You'll end up running away too. Rumors? You don't have to play dumb. I know that people have been running their mouth about me, calling me creepy, a weirdo, eccentric. No, I heard that this place was creepy. Actually, yes, also you were creepy, sure. I'm sure you didn't want to come here either. Hurry up and go back to your estate. Tell Edward he doesn't have to be such a busybody. I'm afraid I can't do that. Lord Edward has instructed me to work here. As your employer, I'm telling you to leave. I apologize, but my employer is ultimately House Bernstein. Now that I've accepted this job, I cannot leave without good reason. I'd finally found a chance to approach Lucas. I wasn't going to back down that easily. Plus, though he was certainly unique, Considering his treatment of me until now, his demeanor seemed more personality quirk than character flaw. He chose those earrings for me and he danced with me at the ball. If he hated people just for the sake of hate, he'd never do that. Also, what was that mood swing earlier? Is there a reason he doesn't want me to get close to him aside from his being unsocial? Elongating his irritated sigh, Lucas stood from his chair and approached me. CG. CG? Oh, did you just grab my face and pin me to something? The door was behind me. Lucas didn't stop until he was intimidatingly close. Realizing that I had no way out, my body tensed. You were getting angry-faced at me. You got your hand on my face, which is a little, sir, maybe watch that, but you're pinning me to the door? And you're getting a little This is the kind of shit I'm into, so that's not going to scare me off. It's only going to turn me on more. I'm sure you heard the rumors. If you stick around, something dreadful may happen to you. There was so little distance between us. I felt his breath on my face, his dark amethyst eyes fixed on me at point-blank range. His fingertips reached out and touched my cheek. Pure cold traced my skin. Okay, so he's not grabbing our face, he's just touching our face, which is a little... You're like, why are you being so sensual and weird? I'm here for it. Goneril guessed that the will-o-wisps can manipulate the dead with fire. The brothers of House Sullivan lost their minds and killed each other. This man could have been the puppeteer. If I've gotten through your thick skull, go back already. Is that a threat? I feel like it's a threat. Tell him you won't. Hell yeah. No matter what you may say, I won't go back. I can't betray Lord Edward and Mr. Nicholas's faith in me. Huh. So you choose duty over fear. You're an exemplary maid. Not afraid of House Sullivan. Regardless of House Sullivan, I can't bring myself to consider you frightening, Lord Lucas. Lucas's eyebrow quirked up with a twitch. His finger stilled on the contour of my cheek. And I'm grateful for all the kindness you've shown me, such as during the ball. Ooh. Those were nothing but whims. You're surprisingly naive. Perhaps it was my imagination, but I felt that his tone had mellowed then. Lucas's hand dropped away from my cheek. He took a step backward. No, don't go. If you're gonna be that stubborn, have it your way. But whatever happens, I'm not gonna take responsibility, just so you know. Thank you very much. I shall devote myself to my duties to the best of my ability. My shoulders, which had tensed up nearly to my ears, finally relaxed. Having properly been granted permission to work here, I bowed. Listen, don't talk to me more than you have to. The bare minimum. You only come when I call for you. Understood. I was reluctant to agree. My one goal here was to gain his trust, but I could at least pretend I was convinced and nodded for him. Well then, I shall get to work. What would you like me to start with? I'd like some black tea. As you wish. As I turned to leave the room, Lucas called out one last remark. Right. I just remembered. Nicholas, of all people, sent a letter that said he'd absolutely arrange for a separate chef to work while you're here. Huh? What on earth have you been cooking up at your estate? The others before you all made the refreshments just fine. I wanted answers, too. Why were Nicholas, Evelyn, and Charlotte so adamant about blocking me from the kitchen? I considered it and arrived at a possibility. Perhaps... Perhaps my cooking is so delicious that all who eat it faint without exception. What? After I replied solemnly, Lucas burst out in roaring laughter, as if he couldn't hold it in any longer. You're optimistic about the strangest stuff. Huh? What do you mean? No, my bad. It was just surprising in a bunch of ways. I'm just as surprised. I never knew he could laugh like this. I didn't know why he was laughing at me, but it worried me that he might use it as grounds to order me to leave. If you're concerned about tea, I've served you during the conferences, so rest assured. Yeah, I've had some of the tea you made, so I'm aware. Okay, go on. Right away. Perhaps it was a blessing in disguise. Thanks to that exchange, the tense mood vanished. Now the Lucas before me was the man who danced with me at the ball. Look at his endearing, sweet, soft little face. It's too bad I haven't gotten any distinct answers why everyone pays so much attention to my cooking. She's going to make him something and he's going to be like, your cooking is awful. At this stage, I was just thankful that he hadn't forced me to go. I turned and... If I wasn't mistaken, Lucas was still laughing behind me. How adorable, he's chuckling at us. The next day, under the pretext of cleaning, I went around to investigate the estate. Phew! At least I'd intended it to be pretext only, but with just one elderly injured butler, filth had accumulated everywhere. Cleaning the premises proved a draining job. Huh? Looks great around here. To think that you managed this all by yourself. Look at you without your cape on! You know? We see your pretty purple coat and suit and everything so much better. Nice. Lucas came up behind me without my realizing. When I heard him speak, I spun around to bow. I mentioned it at breakfast, but the room next to the library is a storage room, so don't go in. You don't need to clean it. Same goes for my room. When I want you to tidy it, I'll tell you. Until then, stay out. Yes, I've committed that to memory. The air is dry today. Shall I deliver some tea later? Yeah, thanks. Agreeing curtly, Lucas returned to his room. They say he's a shut-in, but he actually walks around the estate just fine. Now, is there a chance that he's monitoring me? I shouldn't let my guard down. Yesterday he'd wanted to drive me out. Did he dislike the company, or was it inconvenient in some way for outsiders to be present? The storage room is filled with gifts from the Blue Robin. As I headed to the kitchen to prepare tea, I replayed the scene of that storage room in my mind. None of the rooms have had anything particularly noteworthy about them. The only suspicious room that's left is the supposed storage room. Lucas ordered me to stay out, but naturally I had no intention of obeying. Confirming that Lucas wasn't in the vicinity, I snuck into the room next to the library. Oh, so we've already snuck in. Okay, so nothing... Old furniture, paintings, sculptures. It's just clutter. A deep crimson embroidered rug spanned the room. It looked expensive. A red Gobelins rug. Other than that, there isn't anything that stands out. Gobelins, whatever. Is it really a storage room after all? Yikes! At that moment I heard footsteps climbing up the stairs. I hurriedly vacated. I didn't see anything strange about that room, but Lucas wouldn't insist on it being off limits if it were ordinary. I should find time to investigate it again. But in the back of my mind, there was something else bothering me. A book in the library. When I searched the library, I discovered a single book with the spine facing inward on the back corner of one shelf. I'd taken it out to write it, and it was the exact same book Riley had. As I descended the stairs, my pulse quickened. I mean... Obviously, like, oh, it's the exact same book. Riley was our brother, I believe. Like, oh my god, it's the same book he had. I mean, like... Yeah, I guess of all the books in the entire world, the odds of someone having the exact same book as you when you walk in there, like, oh my god, you have the same book, that's cool. But it's not like, oh, that's suspicious, you have the same book. You know what I mean? Like, why is that suspicious? But, obviously, plot purposes. But normally, if you were in someone's house and they have a giant fucking library, you'd be like, shocked not to find a book that you've read or have. You know what I mean? So... I would recognize that blue cover anywhere. It was from those, halcyon days when I was still with my brother. A memory almost forgotten revived vividly, unless you think it's a brother's actual book. Now, that would just prove that Lucas knew our family. It was back when we still lived in Rowan, one winter holiday when my brother returned home from boarding school. Who killed Cock Robin? You're in a good mood today, Riley. Oh my god, wait a minute. Is the book Who Killed Cock Robin? And it's a blue cover, Blue Robin, and that's where Blue Robin came. That would make sense. Okay. Of course I am. I got to see my cute sister for the first time in a long while. Hee hee! Oh! Hey, is this your book, Riley?
Yeah, I borrowed it from my school library. I like books by this author.
What is it about?
It's a mystery, a type of story that makes you think while you read. It uses an old nursery rhyme as a motif. It's pretty fun, but maybe a bit too difficult for you right now.
After saying that, my brother smiled.
Robin.
What? What about a robin? Oh, is there a little bird around?
No, that's not what I meant. You could say that it was, well, like a code word. In my school, there's a guy who likes the same book, you see. We get along really well. I'll bring him home to our house another time. Lucas. Guarantee you, Lucas and Riley were friends. Because if Lucas is older, like, our brother could have been older, you know what I mean? Like, and we were probably, because it would make sense. Like, maybe Riley was Lucas's only friend, and, like, all his brothers were bullying him. Oh, I bet anything. I mean, otherwise there'd be no point bringing up this book and this whole scenario. Robin. That's right. I think Riley said Robin back then. It might have been a leap in logic to connect that to the rumored Blue Robin, but for some reason it felt important. Robin. Code word. Then there's the fact that Lucas not only has this book, but hid it. Is this really just coincidence? No, he's the Blue Robin and he knew your brother. There you go. The cover of the book in the library was worn, like the owner had read it many times. That said, it was still a normal book, you think. You could find it in any random bookshop. The word Robin was just as common. So why was my heart so afflicted? The one verse of the nursery rhyme that was used as the novel's motif stuck in my mind. Who killed Cock Robin? Again, and it's blue, and Robin was a code word, so he's using it. Or our brother's not actually... What? Wait a minute. I was like, or our brother's not actually dead, and then I went, wait, Will-o'-the-Wisp can, like, manipulate the dead or do whatever. What if Lucas can talk to the dead? And talking to the dead includes, like, I mean, because, like, if he has power over the dead or whatever, dealing with the dead, he could talk to the dead. So he could probably talk to our brother if they were friends. I'm just throwing that out there, like... And maybe he donates all these things to, like, the almshouses and retirement homes and all of that as, like, almost in a way, like, because Riley's like, you should do something as penance for having involved in killing me, dude. Like... Because I'm sure Lucas would have been forced to do that if he had any, like, any part in... I'm assuming every single one of them has some kind of a little tiny finger in the pot of who killed my family, how they died, and everything like that. Like, we already know Alfred did. He's not the only one to blame. You know everyone's going to have a part. Because that would be too much. Like, Alfred, the first route you go down, he's the only one that has involvement? No, they all have some kind of involvement. Okay? And, like, if Lucas had some kind of involvement, but his ties were that he was our brother's friend, like our brother was his only friend in boarding school or whatever, and then that would just make his guilt over it so much stronger, and then he already has a traumatic childhood, and then he's got this guilt that he's responsible for killing his friend, and if he has power to speak to the dead or whatever, that could be who he's arguing with. Everyone's like, I hear him arguing, and he's arguing with our brother, and maybe he's even if he's not arguing with our brother, but whatever. I mean, I feel like the arguing and no one's there is he's arguing with dead people. Like, what, did you not feel that when Charlotte and Evelyn were like, there's like, he's talking to no one, and you're like, he's talking to dead people. Like, you're like, Will-o'-the-Wisp, he can manipulate the dead. You don't think he could talk to the dead? You don't think that would be part of it, and he's yelling at dead people? Having arguments with spirits? Maybe his father, maybe his brothers, who knows? Whatever. But I'm wondering if the Blue Robin thing, obviously, like, it's a code word, whatever, him giving out those donations and doing that, even if it is infrequent, is like... Because, like, oh, maybe he and Riley talked about that, or that's something Riley would do, so he's, like, doing that as, like, a penance type thing, and, like, well, it's just nice, and, like, obviously, like, because he also knows what it's like. I mean, granted, he was, who knows how old he was when, like, his father bought him off his mother, but he probably doesn't feel like he fits in with the nobility anyway. We already kind of
I feel like that's a given. And then, like, giving out things to help people in more unfortunate situations is something like Alfred was like, we should all be doing that anyway. You know what I mean? So he's like, yeah, and I do it in secret because I don't want people to like talk about it, but also Blue Robin is like a thing for Riley type of a thing. You know what I mean? Like you'd give like I gave a donation in your name because like what or something. You know what I mean? So like I don't. It's gonna be it's gonna be a tearjerker. And we're gonna be like, look, it's so sweet and adorable, and he was besties with our brother, and it's so cute. But anyway, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.